You have a dataset containing employee salaries and performance scores. But looking at 15 or 1000 rows of data does not immediately tells you what's happening. Like what is average salary? How much does salary vary? What is typical performance score? In this video, I'll show you how to answer these questions using descriptive statistics in Excel. What is descriptive statistics? Descriptive statistics is about summarizing and understanding the main characteristics of a dataset. Instead of looking at every individual observation, we use measures such as mean, median, mode, minimum value, maximum value, range, variance, and standard deviation. The two terms are very important, variance and standard deviation, which helps you to understand the data. Now for that, I would like first to give an example to understand, right? Consider that I'll give you, we have total number of students in a class. Let's suppose 50. This is class A and this is class B. Let's suppose I have 50 students. For a class A in a subject maths, the 50 students got average marks, right? Let's suppose 76. And in class B, for 50 students, the average marks in mathematics was 80. Now by looking at this data, can you tell me that how the data would have vary in class A, class B? Or let me make it more simpler. If I have 50 students in class A with average marks 76, does it certainly state that all 50 students have marks 76, 76, 76, 76? No. In class B, total students having 50 marks, 50 students having average marks 80 in mathematics. Does it mean all the 50 students have marks 80, 80, 80, 80, 80? No. That means if I have average marks, if I have total number of students, that doesn't mean they'll state how the data varies. And it is not necessary that all the students will have 76 or 80 marks on average, right? Then if I want to know that how data varies in the student of 50 class, if I do not have the data itself available to me, but I have factors such as variance and standard deviation, I can certainly state that how are the marks. So variance helps you in understanding how far the data is from the mean value. How far the data is from the mean value. Now let's suppose if I'll say that I'll give you variance equals to 0. Now how far the data points are from the mean value at 0 distance. That means all the points are at 76, 76, 76, 76. In that case, if I have total number of students, I have to average marks, I have variance information, I can certainly state that how far my data varies from the mean value. One more thing, if I state that the variance for class B is 10, that means how far the values are away from the mean point at a distance of 10. That means from 80, they can certainly be in the range of 80, a distance of 10 from 80. It can be 10 less than to that, it can be 10 more than to that. That means the lower limit will be 70 and upper limit will be 90. So I got to know with the help of variance that my 50 students having average marks 80, variance 10, this certainly lies in the range of 70 to 90 because variance helped me in understanding how far the data points are from mean value. But still, do I certainly can state that how many are on 70, how many are on 71, how many are on 72, how many are on 79, how many are on 89, how many are 88, how many are 90? How many students? Certainly again no. We have different parameters again to understand the shape of the data. We have skewness. And with variance, one term we state called as standard deviation, right? Standard deviation is nothing, just the square root of variance, right? Okay. Because while we define the variance, it takes the square of the data, right? How? Again, I would like to state it with the help of an example. Let's consider of data, very simple, right? Okay, I'll take it as 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 data points, right? What is the average? What is the average of this data? That will be 5 plus 4 plus 3 plus 2 plus 1, 15 divided by 5 number of points. Average will be 3. What is the variance? How far the data is from the mean value that I need to calculate, which is summation of the data point, the value that each I have, minus the average that we have minus the variance data point minus average divided by the number of elements that we have, right? Okay, so let's suppose if I have to find the variance, yes, we use formula for that, right? That is what just I'm mentioning here, which is x minus mean, right, that we take divided by total number of data points we have. Now see here, right, for this data, if I calculate variance for the first point, average is 3, so that will be 3 minus 1, right? 3 minus 1, right? That I'll get here is 2. Perfect. Here I'll get data point is data point was 1 minus average, that will be minus 2 here, right? So 2 minus 3 minus 1, then 3 minus 3 0, 4 minus 3 1, 5 minus 3 2. If I'll add all of these, 2 plus 1 3 minus 1 minus 2, I think I'll get 0 here. And if I divide it with n, I always get 0. This is the reason in the variance formula, when I say we do x minus the mean, right, mu, we do square of this, right? Okay, we deliberately, whosoever has derived the formula, they have applied the square to that, then divided by total number of values, right? So in that case we do square 4 1, right, difference square, okay, 1 4. Now if we add it, 4 plus 1 5, 5 5 10, 10 divided by 5 values, so variance will be 2. Variance will be 2. Variance 2 means whatever the data points are there, that will be a distance of 2 away from the mean value. So average was 3, so they can be in the range of 3 less than 2, that is 1, and 2 above than 3 5. And clearly we see that if I only know the average, if I only know there are 5 data points, if I don't know the data, here we can match and prove, right? Then still I can know that what's the range of the data, right? In previous case 70 to 90, and here we got exactly the same. So variance got 2 and average was 3. So how far they will be from mean point? A distance of 2, which is from 1 to 5. They can be anywhere, right? But in that, deliberately it has taken care, and sometimes it takes the data to a very large value. This is why, in order to compensate, we use a square root of variance, right? That is what we call it as standard deviation. Okay, we call it as standard deviation, right? This is the reason. Okay, that is why we use this. I hope you are clear with what is variance and what is standard deviation, right? And for what purpose we use. But with that we can identify the range. But certainly if I want to know the data points, how, in what range, where most of the data point lies, yes, we need to know one factor called as skewness. Okay, and we also take help of kurtosis also, right, in order to identify the shape of the data, right? Okay, that we'll talk about in the later section. Okay, so here we are going to apply descriptive statistics, right? And by means of saying descriptive statistics, we want to summarize and understand the main characteristics of a data set. That means instead of looking at every individual observation, we measure mean, median, mode, range, variance, standard deviation, that we do, right? Okay, so for that, one thing is there, yes, I can separately do that, equals to, I can find the average, right? Okay, like average of the experience, average of monthly salary performance, right? And then separately I'll apply the formula for standard deviation, right? Okay, then I'll apply the formula for variance also, right? Yes, I can do that. Okay, but we have one thing available to us in this application of Excel, right, where we are talking about spreadsheets, that we can use one thing here referred to as data analysis toolkit. If you click on data, right, you'll see at the last I'm getting this option as data analysis toolkit, right? But it might not be available to everyone. So how to enable that? You go to the file and you go to the options. Okay, once you click on the options, you'll see another tab which is there, right? Okay, you'll be able to see another tab that will that option will be available to you. Okay, so how you can see that? I think it's not visible. Okay, so if you click, okay, so in order to see this data analysis tab, what you have to do, you have to click on the file, you have to click on this options, right, which is there. Once you click on this option, there's another window that will pop up on your screen, and you will have an Excel option as add-ins. So if you click on the add-ins, you will see the very first option over there, that is analysis toolbar, and at last you will see manage Excel ads in and go. So once you click on this go, you will see the different options over there, right? Okay, you'll be able to see the different options over there. Analysis toolpack VBA, right? Solver, Euro, currency tools. So you click on analysis tool pack, you click OK, and then you'll be able to see this in your Excel. But apart from this, there is one another add-ins which are available to us in the Excel. So if you click again on file and click on account, you'll be able to see here get ads in, right? So once you click on this ads in, you will see a list of all the ads in which are available there, and you can type there Excel Miner. Okay, XLMINER, that is exactly what you have to type. So we have a analysis tool pack, Excel Miner, right? Tool pack which is available. Statistical analysis, you can do that. Okay, similar kind of things which are available in that also, right? You don't have to worry. So once I click on add-in, you will see I got all of these here, right? Okay, that we'll be able to see. And this is what we need to do, descriptive statistics. And same thing here in data analysis tool pack, right? Multiple options are available to us. That's where we can also perform. Okay, so you get to see this descriptive statistics. That is what we have to perform. So once you click on OK, you give the input range, right? Let's suppose I want to do the statistics for experience. I want to find out mean, median, mode, everything, right? Considered in descriptive statistics. I'll select this data because I've selected the data from the second row. So there is no label in that data, right? You can untick this. Okay, but in case you are selecting the data from C1, I hope you also remember this is $C$1 referred to as absolute reference index, right? Okay, so if I select the data from the starting, you clearly see that we need to mention here that the labels in the first row, right? I want to have a summary statistics. I want to find the largest element, smallest element, and so on. So it is also asking for the output range. So you can give the output range. Let's suppose I click here, right? At H4 I need. So I'll just click OK, and you see that I got mean, median, mode, standard error, standard deviation, variance, even kurtosis and skewness also, that we'll discuss in next lecture, right? We'll get the range of the data, right? It is the minimum value we have is 1, maximum is 9. So range will be maximum minus minimum, which is 8. I got the total sum, the count of the values, largest, minimum, and confidence interval, that we'll talk about in hypothesis, right? So in just in 1 minute approximately, we can perform all this descriptive statistics here, right? Okay, and we'll be able to understand the data. This is all about understanding the data, right? We got everything. So yeah, we have got these numbers, we got these insights which tells us the average value, observation, middle observation, boundaries of our data, right? And you also notice that descriptive statistics doesn't tell us why this experience ranges, right? Okay, you can even perform on salaries and performance also, right? It also summarizes what is present in the data. This is usually one of the first step in data analysis that we perform. Okay, so whenever you receive a new data set, don't immediately jump into the charts or machine learning. Start by asking, what does my data looks like? Calculate mean, median, mode, maximum range, standard deviation, that descriptive statistics, and it is one of the very first step towards turning your raw data into the meaningful insight. Okay, so in the next lecture we'll talk about kurtosis, and we will talk about kurtosis and skewness. Don't just stop at calculating statistics, right? Okay, statistics give you the number, but also visualization help you see the distribution, right? Okay, so follow my Index site for more videos. So we'll meet in the next class. Thank you.